Good morning and welcome back to the market caller for today, the 4th of May 2025. We're excited to have you all here. This is the market caller brought to you by yours truly, the Value Flow Trading team. My name is CJ, and alongside me we have Lekon, Cynthia, Abby, and Demola. Together, we're going to be taking you on this journey of the market caller, where we're going to be analyzing major forex currency pairs, and we're also going to be showing you possible trades that we're going to be taking today, so that you can take advantage of it along with us. All right, so get set as we dive into the main course for today. Starting off, we're going to be heading to gold, and then we're going to be looking at the yen before we proceed to the USD pairs. Now, starting off on gold against the dollar. This morning, gold is looking clear on what it's planning to do. It looks as though the plan is very clear and concise for us, because we had a bullish bias last week on gold, but right now it's looking like it's forming or it's resuming its bearishness. You can see how that gold has already broken structure prior, and on the daily time frame, it has already shown us that the bearish move is like the in thing for this season on gold. So we're expecting to see further and further sales on gold to the downside. This is what we're expecting to play out. You can see how last week Friday ended when price traded into this fair value gap and then went ahead to tap this gold low residing right here, after which we saw the rejection to the downside. We're expecting that to continue into this week as we are looking forward to more and more bearishness on gold to the downside. So for us, for me this morning, my bias on gold is bearishness. I'm expecting to see gold sell further and further into the downside for today. All right. Sorry about that break in our audio. It's been fixed now. So back to what we're saying. We're saying that gold, we're expecting a sell on gold all the way to this region here, and then a possible buy to the upside in the form of a retracement. So I'm bearish on gold. We are bearish on gold, and we want to see how price is going to sell off into this region. On the 4-hour time frame, you can see how that is playing out already. There is clear bearishness on gold, and price is pumping to the downside further and further, and we're expecting to take advantage of that. First outlook or first point of interest will be to see price take out the low of Friday. That is my major point of interest. After price is taken out the low of Friday, we can now expect a retracement that will engineer a further sell to the downside. So this is what we're looking out for today. Seeing that Friday couldn't break and close above here, we'll be looking for more and more sales all the way to the downside. Okay. Now, while we're looking for more sales on gold, we will be looking at this particular region right here to see how the next candle is going to form. What we're looking out for is a break and retest. You can see that that has been happening since the first break here. There was a retest. Next break here, there was a retest. So we'll be looking for variation patterns on 5 minutes time frame and on the 15 minutes time frame. Once we see it form on any of these two, we'll be taking advantage of the sell and be riding gold to the downside. So what I mean by a variation pattern is an evening star pattern. If I see an evening star pattern form on gold, I'll be taking myself to the downside. This is what we're looking at on gold. Now to the yen pairs. Now, the yen has been very sketchy and dodgy in the past couple of days. You see that the news coming out of the yen, it's looking like there might be a very strong rebound, and we've seen that play out on this on Wednesday after the news release on the yen side. You could see that there was a very strong yen rebound, and price of the yen went really up, and it's almost invalidated structure. Right now, it's going back to its normal place. It's still selling. One thing that we took note of during that yen rebound is the fact that when we say yen rebound, we mean the expansion on the yen. The fact that price couldn't break above here still tells us that the yen is very much bearish. Okay, so this was just a retracement, but a very strong one. Right now, we're expecting resumption of the sell of the yen to the downside. Okay. Now, if we look at GBP JPY and Euro JPY, which are the main culprits, and US JPY as well, we can see how that they sold so much to the downside. Price couldn't break the low either. So right now we're looking for opportunities to buy on the yen basket, and then we're looking for opportunities to buy on GBP JPY as well as other yen pairs. So for GBP JPY, I'll be looking for a buy around here, seeing. Now, I just want to add a side note on GBP JPY and Euro JPY. We are going to be very, very careful when we are trading them. Reason for that is because since that huge sell on Thursday last week, we've been seeing other signs of this strong expansion to the downside. You can see it right here. So it's very important that you apply extra caution. If you cannot avoid trading GBP JPY and Euro JPY this season, then you should apply extra caution, because you can see that if you were buying around here, you would have been stopped out. You tried buying again, another stop out. So at this point, we're going to be very, very, very cautious on how we trade GBP JPY. My overall bias is a buy. However, we would have to really, really sit this one out and wait for a proper retracement before we continue buying. Okay. Same thing goes for Euro JPY. For me, I'll be sitting on my hands on these two pairs because I will not want to be a victim of either of these two moves. So I will sit on my hands and just watch what plays out on all three of them for Euro JPY, GBP JPY, and USD JPY. So this is the best time to just sit on your hands, trade other pairs that also have liquidity as much as this ones do, so that you can take advantage of them in the long run and not be on the losing side. Okay. So we're going to head straight into other pairs, talking about other pairs. We're looking at GBP USD, Euro USD. We want to hear from Cynthia on what her outlook is on the following pairs. Good morning, Cynthia.
Good morning, CJ. Good morning, profitable traders. Welcome to the second segment of today's market color session. I hope we had a very good time over the weekend. That was such an insightful analysis from CJ. Hopefully, you took note of every price point that was being called out during the course of today's analysis. So we'll be heading straight to the XY, Euro USD, and GBP USD to know exactly what the market has for us this week. Let me put my chart off, pardon. So on the weekly time frame, you know that we always, if you've been joining the market color sessions, we always like to start from the weekly time frame. You're looking at these price points, 1074664 for price to buy all the way into this level before selling off. And on the daily time frame, of course, I can spot the classic box pattern for a buy already, and price is currently sitting at that level. Shoulder at 97.351, sweep the downside road to the upside. Price is currently sitting at this level, and I'm looking out for long opportunities of DXY into the rest of the week. On the 4-hour time frame also, although we're seeing that price is more like caught up in the range, I'm still looking out for buy opportunities. I want to buy the XY, right? So after establishing the fact that we actually are looking out for buy opportunities, the next thing we want to look out for are actually entries. And on the 5 minutes time frame is regarding our price in 4-hour time frame. I'm actually looking out for buy opportunities, and I want to hold the buy opportunities all through the week. So classic box pattern 9-7 spot 5-3-8 shoulder at this level, shoulders a sharp sweep to the downside and a break to the upside once price returns right back into 9-5-9-7, I beg your pardon, spot 5-3-8. I want to pull the trigger for a buy. I am looking out for buy opportunities of DXY again. This is where I want to see price trading into. Of course, we always want to buy at discount. So once price retraces into this left shoulder, 9-7 spot 5-3-8, I want to long DXY. Coming down to GBP USD, and of course, you know that if we're looking out to long DXY, we want to short other dollar correlated pairs, including GBP USD and Euro USD. The weekly time frame, we still want to buy. We want to buy when price retraces into one spot 24683 shoulder, sweep, break, return right back into this left shoulder, and we want to buy. However, on daily time frame, we're seeing that the most recent price action seems to be bearish, and this low has already been taken out, and the classic box pattern has already been formed. Shoulder, sharp sweep to the upside, break to the downside. Price is currently sitting at this level, and from this level, we want to short GBP USD. Price is just stalling at that level, and of course, seeing this, we're seeing that there hasn't been any box pattern failure. The price is just sitting here, giving us opportunities to short GBP USD. However, on the 4-hour time frame also, we can actually spot another box pattern sitting at the same place that the classic box pattern is sitting on the daily time frame. Shoulder right here, sharp sweep to the upside, break to the downside. Price is currently sitting at this level, and we should see more short opportunities to the downside, even on the 4-hour time frame. Coming down to the 5 minutes time frame for entries, I can spot one right here, right? Spot one right here, shoulder, sweep, break, once price returns right back into this level, 1 spot 36409. I want to short GBP USD. I'm looking out for short opportunities once price retraces into a premium level. Now we're looking out for entries on the much lower time frames. Right, there are even I think this looks more accurate. Shoulder, sharp sweep to the upside, break to the downside. Once price gets here, I want to short GBP USD, and my stop loss should be above this high right here. Right, so please take note once price gets there so that you're able to pull the trigger and take opportunities in the market. And last on my list being Euro USD. Let's see what Euro USD has for us into the remaining part of this week. Weekly time frame, same thing, nothing has really changed. We want to long once price gets into this level, 1 spot 06657. Shoulder sweep break. Very straightforward, nothing complicated about the box pattern strategy. Once you see price doing this, you want to actually just take opportunities in the market. So I'm looking out for price to retrace right back into this level. The weekly time frame, of course, over a long period of time, we should see some sell-off into this level before the momentum to the upside. After establishing the facts that we're looking out for a sell to buy on the weekly time frame, there's a classic box pattern on the daily time frame. Price has actually broken structure, right? And price is currently sitting at this left shoulder. Price retraced right back into this level. Shoulder at 1 spot 17900. Sharp sweep to the upside, break to the downside. Price has retraced right back into this level, and we're seeing some sell-off on the 4-hour time frame also. We're seeing that the most recent price action seems to be actually bearish because we're seeing structure breaking to the downside. Price just came back to tap into this level, a sharp tap into this level for the continuation of the sell on Euro USD and 4-hour time frame. So we're looking out for entries. All we're concerning ourselves with on the 5 minutes time frame is actually entries, and there's one here. Please set your pending order at 1.17657. Shoulder, sharp sweep to the upside, break to the downside. We want to short Euro USD once price retraces into this level, 1.17657. Again, kindly set your pending orders so that once price gets there, gets triggered, and you're not left behind. I beg your pardon. This is quite sketchy. So with that being said, this is actually the end of my market color session. Let's see what the synthetics market is doing. And with that, we have Lakon on that. Lakon, good morning. What opportunities can we take from synthetics market into the remaining part of this week?
Good morning, Cynthia. Happy New Month. Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Month once again. All right, thank you so much. So the synthetic market has been a little bit quiet for in the course of the weekend, and this morning we've been seeing some opportunity trying to build up for us on the synthetic charts right now. So this morning we are going to be starting with volatility index 30, VIX 30, and for those who follow the market color since the 21st of April, you would notice that our setup for VIX 31S just delivered in the course of the weekend. So let's check that out from the 4-hour time frame to see what exactly do we see and what makes us take this trade and where are we heading to in the course of the week and even the course of the month. All right, so looking at the 4-hour time frame is just a very simple analysis that we did, meaning we were waiting for price to come and take out this liquidity point, and price did exactly the same way. And our target was first this liquidity level here, and since we have our stop loss just below this all-time low, so that is one of the reasons why we intend to do our 1:3. But remember that time we said for those who wants to do a very tiny stop loss, then your stop loss should be just below this particular low here, because this is the latest sweep of liquidity, and then we are waiting for price to retrace into the shoulder, and that was exactly what price did when it triggered our pending order and it moved right in that direction. That's almost 1:9, right? And but because our stop loss was actually this low, which was a very clear idea we had right from the 24-hour time frame, and with that this morning, that is going to give us a very good insight of where we are heading to. And reason why we pick that as our stop loss, this low as our stop loss, is because of the POI resting just below here, this order block, and also the fair value gap, which is sitting just around that side. So there's high tendency we see price come into that level, and that is why we add our stop loss below there. And right now that the trade already did a very clear move for us, now where and what are we looking out for? Now the overall structure is still very much bearish, although we're in a very strong consolidation phase. As you can see, we are in a very strong consolidation phase. However, I'm still of the opinion that we are still going to see price, trade a little bit more below, because price simply respected this bust pattern. Remember when we called this particular trade to sometimes some months ago. All right, so this is the simple move that price actually respected after taking out this liquidity. This is our shoulder. We have the sweep and we have the break to the downside here. Now price has taken out the liquidity and we expect it to trade very more far to the origin of the move, of this particular move. So we're expecting price to still come back a little bit more into this fair value gap, with the order block being our reference and the very clear POI for us. Now, after this are delivered, now what exactly should we now look out for? Let's go to our lower time frame, starting from the 1-hour time frame, to see where exactly are we moving to in the course of the week. Now, looking at what we have here, you see we've been in a very strong consolidation after the massive long to the upside. Now, what price is simply telling us now is we should wait a little bit more, and then we can easily follow through to the downside. As a matter of fact, I'm of the opinion, if you can take the risk, this is the entry for me right now, where price just tap into. And let's quickly check that out on the lower time frame for the entry signature. Now, just few minutes ago, you can see the entry signature well printed around that zone. And as a matter of fact, this is when we refine it a little bit more. This is our entry, how that price already tapped into it and pushing to the downside. But if you are not in right now and you can't join because of the stop loss, I'm of the opinion that you may wait and see price come all the way to take out this particular level, and we can easily follow through. Price coming to take out this particular level, this liquidity point. This is going to be the first point. I'm waiting for price to take out again. Then if that is being taken out, as a matter of fact, price already broke structure here and has tested this order block. Hence why we see price, selling further to the downside. So I'm of the opinion this is the best entry you can take, or you wait for price to take out this liquidity point, then we can easily join the sell once again. And where are we taking the sell all the way into? Is into our 4-hour POI with the stop loss just above there. So when you go to your 4-hour time frame, you are going to observe where price is really heading to moving forward. So on the 4-hour time frame, where price is heading to is simply just below here. As a matter of fact, it's very much clear on the 24-hour time frame here, right? So this is it. This is what we are looking out to see play out on this 31S. Price taking out this liquidity level, this double bottom, and trading into this POI fair value gap with a confluence of another block. That's a very clean and clear POI. So this is a very good delivery, as we expect price to do that. And you may just do your 1:4 or 1:5 on your lower time frame if you don't have the mental strength to hold the trade all the way to this POI. But all things being equal, we are still expecting price to trade into this POI here that we have marked out. So that is that for this 31S. A quick one to this 75 index. Now this 75 index in the course of the weekend delivered sweetly, especially on Saturday. On Saturday, we see how that the move was very massive for us all the way to the downside, and we saw what actually reacted to price somewhere here, which is the 4-hour time frame. But before we go there, let's check it out on the daily perspective. You are going to agree with me that we are in a very strong consolidation, and that is giving us the vibe of sell at premium, buy at discount because of the consolidation, but seeing very well that the overall trend still remains a sell. So much entry we would be looking out for is going to be more of a sell signature. And looking at what we have right now, you are going to agree with me that on the 4-hour time frame, we already have a new market structure shift on the 4-hour time frame, which is this break of this low to the downside. And since we have this break of this low to the downside, we also have our shoulder seated quick somewhere around this zone at the top here. So we have somewhere here. So so this is another shoulder here. It's actually a zone, but I want to mark this right now because I don't want this to be messed up. However, you can see what is really going on inside of this zone. This is a very clear order block, and also we have a very clean and clear fair value gap resting just around that zone here, right? So this is what we were looking out for to see on this 75. So this is the higher time frame signature that we see here. However, because of the sell pressure that is currently in the market, yesterday we saw the reaction to this order block yesterday, and it delivered a little bit for those who are scalping. We got this scalp yesterday, but on the lower time frame, if you go to your lower time frame, we can see how the price came to react somewhere to this order block 4-hour here. So there's high tendency price may come back later to this particular point, but right now looking at what we have, let's go to the lower time frame, which is our 15 minutes, to check what are the entry signature we have there. So for this particular move, I'm of the opinion that price is most likely going to still buy a little bit more to this particular zone. On the lower time frame, this is also a 15-minute order block. So you may see price trade all the way into this zone, then begin to sell to the downside. That's just a very minimum stop loss here, right? So if this failed, then we are going for that higher time frame setup, which is on the 4-hour. Now, reason why I adjusted this a little bit to this particular level here is simply because of the liquidity level that we have here, and you can see on the 5-minute time frame is very much clear on 5 minutes how that I'm of the opinion that price is still most likely coming back to take out this zone here, like tap into this order block here. So that's why I'm of the opinion let's take our entry right from this order block instead of the 15-minute zone, because we just see price tap into this level and start going down, and that would pain you for not tagging you along with the trade. So that is the outlook for 75 index. And lastly, we have 75 1S2 right from the daily time frame too. You are going to agree with me that we've been bullish now. We are now bullish right from the daily time frame because of this market structure shift. And on the 4-hour time frame, we saw how that the weekend was a very sell-off one, how that price traded into this POI. So this is a very great entry for us this morning. As you can see, price already took out liquidity here, giving us a very clear shoulder on the 75 1S, and we've seen a clean break to the upside here. And if you look at it, I'm of the opinion that where price is right now, if we wait on our lower time frame, we should see an entry signature there with our stop loss just below this low here. This particular point here is going to be our stop loss moving forward this morning for 75 1S. All right, so if you go to your lower time frame on the 15-minute, what I'm waiting for is to see a clear market structure shift. Yes, to some extent it's printing right now. To some extent it's printing right now. Price is printing the market structure shift here. We've seen now that this has been clearly taken out, and the candle closes above it. However, I'm of the opinion that I'm not just going to jump into the market right now. I'm going to wait until price pull back into this order block that we have here. So when price pull back into that zone, then we may pull the trigger, and we are buying all the way longing the position from this zone, and our stop loss is going to be below that our 4-hour POI, and you target your 1:2 or 1:3. So in a nutshell, for 75 1S, what we are looking out to do is that price retracing all the way back up, particularly to this flip zone that we have here. This is going to be a very strong level where price is going to struggle with if it's not going to break it out. So this is what we are looking out for, to see with our stop loss just below this low here, right? So that is it, and that is giving us about 1:2.5 or 1:3 kind of trade. All right, so this is it for the 75 1S and also for the synthetic in the course of the week. So we have our entries marked out on this 31S, this 75 index, and also this 75 1S. All right, once again, like we always advise, make sure you trade cautiously and use your proper risk management strategy. If your lot size is going to make you panic, then the trade does not worth it. All right, once again, we'll be moving right now to the indices market to see what exactly is going on in the indices market, as Demola shares with us trade opportunities in the indices market this morning. Good morning, Demola.
Good morning, Lekon. Thank you for the analysis on synthetic. It was really insightful. All right. We'll be going into the synthetic market, in the indices market, sorry, and we'll be looking at what's available for us this morning in terms of opportunity to take advantage of. I believe you can see my screen. All right. So on US 30, we had some analysis last week on US 30. That was not last week Friday, I guess last week Monday, right? Which we observed very clearly that as at last time, we've not cleared our previous all-time high on US 30. However, on NAS 100 and also S&P 500, that has happened, right? So we've seen that price cleared its own, price has created new all-time high. We are waiting for the same thing to happen for US 30. And interestingly, we had this area marked out. We did several analysis that price eventually is going to correct itself. All of them, they move most times, almost 85 to 90% correlation between three of them, right? Not exactly the same price action, but the same direction oftentimes. And so that's what has happened now. We've seen US 30 correct itself and then creating new all-time high. All right, so that being said, we are bullish and we know even sentiment in the market now is a bit neutral, unlike before where we get to see a military actions every weekend and all of that, causing the markets to panic. And now we are more stable, meaning the bullish run should continue. The market has recovered fully, I believe strongly that the bullish run should continue. All right, so that being said, we have this area that I'm looking at for this morning. This area, it's a box pattern that was rejected, that was violated, right? We had like a box pattern failure here, a sweep, a break, in fact, some form of inducement, but price did what violently pushed to the upside. So I expect that price digs into this area, and then from there we can now see movements to the upside. So I expect that first, right? So the second one is this zone. Oh, sorry for the technical issues. We're back now. I believe you can hear me clearly. All right, so I was saying that this area here is a very good area that price could dig into, and then from there, if we see a lower time frame break of structure to the upside, then we can start thinking of taking trades to the upside. Just below it is another area of interest. By the time you go to 15 minutes, you see like a box, right? A sweep and then a break to the upside there. This also looks like a valid area for us to see that push to the upside, right? Meaning for any reason, price keep digging into this, and then we expect some level of reaction from this zone, at least into this zone. Say price from here would see movement into this fair value gap. And so now it depends on volatility we see and also other fundamental that can as well either send this price to the downside or just continue its rally. I believe it should continue its rally on the daily time frame. Everything looks really good. Everything really looks really good. I said price has created new all-time high. No, we are still expecting for it to create this, right? I was assuming it's NAS 100. We still have this has not been cleared yet, so it does not create a new all-time high. It just cleared previous last week high, right? It's cleared last week high. On the daily time frame, we still have this to go all the way, right? 50,515 spot 73, right? So I believe those are the areas where we would now even see more push to the upside. Looking on the daily time frame, there's every incentive for price to continue its movement. We have this engulfing candle followed by this bearish candle. I believe price is going to test this engulfing and then we'll see a continuation to the upside strongly. That's what I want to see today. On the 30-minute time frame, again, we're back. And so there's every incentive for price to dig into this and then continue its movement into, in fact, this will be like the overall, right? Overall, yeah. Because by this time, we've taken all of this liquidity, right? Overall will be this zone here. On NAS 100 on the daily time frame, NAS has cleared its own, you can see, cleared its previous all-time high, and then created areas that's been grabbing, using other blocks to push to the upside. These other blocks was mitigated by this, mitigated by this. The only other block that's not been mitigated now is this new one, right? It's a new area, so you're not sure whether it's going to hold or not, right? You can just best, okay, we have another block that's not been tested, so there's every incentive for price to dig into this area, right? Come back into this area, use this level as inducement for it to continue to the upside, provided we are still pushing to the upside. There's still clear sentiment and also fundamental that supports the bullish movement, right? Once we have fundamental that supports this bullish movement to the upside, then easily we can use this other block to continue price movement to the upside. On the 4-hour time frame, look at this. We have this other block also. We have this other block that's not been tested, this inducement, and then a push to the upside. Just below it is this low that I don't expect to be broken. I don't expect this low to be violated. Why? Because it took this previous liquidity. So there's every incentive for it to just continue to the upside, and then we don't see any further rejection that would violate this zone. All right, that being said, finally on S&P 500, S&P 500 also has almost the same thing with NAS 100, right? We've created a new all-time high, and then we expect, let me delete all of this. Okay, price is in a new area of discovery, so I'm also just careful about taking trades from this zone because you don't know what can happen. Price can as well correct itself or just continue the bullish move to the upside, right? But then using our FIB tool, FIB tool will give you like an expected, okay, look at this, at least any recovery, any correction will be to 23.6 level or 38.2 level, right? A deep retracement will be into 50.0 level, but then these two levels should be what we expect to see in the market, right? 23.6, 38.2. All right, so I'll be watching out for these levels and then carefully just checking it out, because if we should take a bullish trade now, a buy on this market, yes, it's valid. However, there's every possibility for price to correct, right? Price correct up until 23.6, and then which also in a way align with this resistance turn support, right? And then it continues to the upside. So a bit of patience will be needed this week so that we know clearly where we are headed to in the market. Before we are in the middle, whether we should buy or sell, but now it's clear we are bullish. It's just area of retracement. We want to see price retrace into areas that are valid, and then from there we continue our bullish movements in the market. For our time frame, we have this, okay, this other block also. On the 1-hour time frame, it's more obvious. You have this other block here, right? That's not been tested before. That price can as well use as well, right, to continue, or area of interest just to continue its bullish movements in the market. All right, that's all for this morning. If and when we have specific area of interest in the market, the markups will be sent to the Market Scholar group. Ensure you are in that community. If you're not yet there, you can just look at YouTube links, and then you see the link to join the community. All right, that's pretty much it from my end. The next voice you'll be hearing is Abigail, looking at commodity market, what we have for the week. Over to you, Abigail. What do we have for this week in the commodity market?
Right, Demola, thank you for that very detailed session. We're going to be moving forward to look at the commodity currencies market now and see the opportunities that present themselves. For the sake of those of us who are totally new traders, by commodity currencies, I mean AUD/USD, NZD/USD, and USD CAD. Starting off with a look at AU on the higher time frame H4 precisely. So AUD/USD has been buying. This is the highest high we've had since somewhere around the 16th of June. And the price has now broken through certain levels. Sunshine has also been printed. Everything is basically pushing upward, except for the sunshine that was printed here on the chart. So because of this indicator that has now given me a sign that the buyers will be taking profit now, I'm expecting temporary sell-off. You can even see already that the temporary sell on AUD/USD has already resumed, already trading through, broke through this previous resistance that could have acted as support to continue to trade higher. Okay, so having this in mind, you'd see that I marked out certain level points on my charts. I'm going to call them out because I know not all of us have these indicators on our chart. So just take note of the price point. The first one is 0.71687. And our second point of interest is 0.70540. These are the two major levels I'm looking out for on AUD/USD 1 hour time frame. If price eventually trades into the zones and give me confirmations, then I know AU is going to be buying. However, if price doesn't trade to that level, there are certain level points we're watching out for on the 5-minute time frame, and I'm going to call them out now. You can see that I already marked them out on my charts. These are support and resistance levels, and I want to believe we know what these levels serve as. So this is the previous resistance that could have acted as support, but price violated. This is a support level that has been drawn that price could hold at. We're going to be watching. If this level does not hold, this is the next point of interest. Remember the level I stated on the 1 hour time frame, 0.71684. It's right here. We have another point of interest at 0.71204, and then the final level marked out on the 5-minute time frame. So I'm basically saying that my bias for AUD/USD today is a buy, looking at temporal sell-offs into my most preferred level so that I can buy low and my stop loss will not be too much. So these are levels I'm watching out for. Make sure you mark them out on your chart as well. And if you're a student of the Forex Bootcamp community already, I'm sure you already have this installed on your platform. And then for NZD/USD on the H4 time frame now, you see how this is jumbled up. It's currently in a range. So I'm going to wait till I see NZD/USD break through this zone, mark them out so you can also, I'm sure if you open your chart, even if you use naked charts, you're going to see this range somehow. There was some sort of break here, but I'm still going to call this a range. I want to see a clear division or a clear separation from here first. So NZD/USD on the H4 is in the range. However, one thing is for sure is sunshine has been printed. When sunshine is printed, what do we expect? Temporal sell-offs. We're now looking at NZD/USD on the H1 time frame, and you see the same level points I marked out. Please don't get confused. I know the indicators can be a lot to look at. Just take note of the levels I'm calling out. So that's why I'm calling them out here. So the POI1 on NZD/USD 1 hour time frame is 0.58844, and the second point of interest on NZD/USD is 0.58289. This here, yeah. Now this is a level that has a lot of stop losses ranging around here. We could see a break above us come and sweep all of this out. But before that happens, we need to see, deeper retracements before the H4 range finally separates themselves. Going to the M5 time frame now to see our most recent price movement that will give us insight on what H4 would eventually do. I also marked out a previous resistance, and you see how beautifully price tapped into that. From that resistance, that's Friday's high to what price has currently done. We've gotten about 30 pips already. So I'm still going to mark or call this out because I know not all of us were on the chart early on. So POI1 is 0.59248. POI2 is 0.59081. The third one is 0.58863. Now pay attention to this indicator as well, because when price eventually trades into this level, there's a high possibility it is going to hold, and that is 0.58762, with the final POI on the 5-minute time frame being 0.58197. So again, H4 is currently mixed up, it's not clear. H1, however, is giving me incentive that price could eventually break through this point. Until it does so, I'm still not so clear on H1. However, On the 5-minute time frame, I have highs and lows that I've marked out. Depending on what price does, if this level holds as support, then we're going to see a break above that range on the H4, and NZD/USD is going to continue to buy. But if it fails to break through and comes to violate all of these levels to the downside, then what's happening is going to be a sell opportunity. And then finally, looking at USD CAD on the H4 time frame. So USD CAD on H4 is printing downward. We've been saying break of structures, change of characters, all the way to the downside. I have a major POI that I'm watching out for. This is a support level that when price eventually trades into should hold. So take note of that. Let me get the specific price point as well. This is now 1.35219. Now, Sunshine has been printed here, so we expect temporal buys. It's just the rule of the all-weather strategy. We're expecting temporal buys on this particular asset class. POI 1 is 1.37506, and point of interest 2 is 1.36627. The third one is 1.36398. So temporarily buy into these levels. If you hold, we continue to sell in line with the break of structures we've been having since somewhere around March. And if you fail to and does the opposite, we move accordingly. And then looking at the 5-minute time frame for our trades of the sessions here, you have this high, Friday's high and low, Thursday's high and low, all marked out. Price has now broken through this. Remember the analysis we did on Monday last week? We made some good money from USD CAD. It was beautiful to see. So for USD CAD on the M5 time frame now, yeah, price has broken through and it has retested this particular level. We're now seeing the buys. So USD CAD is for sure going to buy from here. It's currently at a zone. We would see a retracement, just some sort of tiny pullback to this zone, and then a continuation of the buy into the next point of interest, and we'll see what happens from there. So quickly, we're going to look at Forex Factory just so we are aware of the high impact news releases that we have this week. Okay, so today is a very slow day. There's nothing, everything is just yellow and only one orange. So nothing really happening today. However, tomorrow we have cash rate, monetary policy statements, RBA rate statements all coming out, and these affect the Aussie. Yeah, so pay attention to that. You'd also want to pay attention to ISM services PMI and JOLTS job openings, also high impact on the dollar. So yes, we are interested in seeing what it eventually does. And then finally on Friday, we have some high impact news releases coming out on the Canadian dollar, employment change and unemployment rate, and then non-farm employment change on the USD. So remember, we don't just trade technicals or indicators. We also pay attention to what fundamentals are doing because they are big drivers of this market. With that being said, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to be trading live during the week should we see any opportunity present itself. So make sure you have a Market Color community pinned on your Telegram. And we also have our Forex Bootcamp training happening this month. It's going to be the final week of this month. So if you've been wanting to learn how to trade like me, like Demola, like CJ, Cynthia, and Lakon, simply send a message to 081 6099 5030 and let us get you on board. Okay, again, thank you for joining. Have an amazing, profitable week. See you next time. God bless.